Video 80, Article 6, Professional Preparation Area 8, MCHES Subcompetencies 8.1.1. Review the learning objectives for this video. Welcome to Article 6, and I am glad you are continuing this journey with me. This article addresses your responsibility in professional preparation, and it applies to faculty members, field supervisors, clinical preceptors, and really anyone who trains, mentors, or evaluates emerging health education professionals. This is particularly important for you as a Master Certified Health Education Specialist candidate because advanced practitioners like yourself frequently serve in mentoring and supervisory roles throughout their careers. So this content is going to be very relevant to your day-to-day work. The first principle is competent and ethical mentoring. You want to stay current in your field by reading the latest research, attending professional conferences, and engaging in continuing education. Use evidence-based teaching methods in your instruction and provide accurate, up-to-date information about the profession and the certification process. Mentoring is not simply about transferring knowledge. It is about modeling the professional behaviors, ethical reasoning, and critical thinking skills that your students will carry into their own careers as health education specialists. That is a powerful legacy you are building. The second principle is equal opportunity. You must provide the same quality of instruction, feedback, and evaluation to all students regardless of their personal characteristics, including race, gender, age, socioeconomic background, or disability status. Grading criteria must be transparent from the beginning and consistently applied across all students. Recommendations for jobs, graduate programs, or other opportunities must be based on demonstrated competence and merit rather than personal affinity or favoritism. Third, model ethical behavior in everything you do. Your students learn as much from observing you as they do from formal instruction. If you teach about informed consent in the classroom but routinely skip it in your own research projects, that contradiction sends a powerful and damaging message. Your actions must align with your teaching. Fourth, evaluation must be fair and competency-based, reflecting actual demonstrated competence rather than personality, likability, or personal connections. This is a point where Article 6 intersects directly with Article 1, your responsibility to the public. Passing an incompetent student is an ethical violation because that student will eventually serve communities and clients who deserve competent care. Finally, maintain appropriate professional boundaries in all supervisory relationships. The inherent power differential between a mentor and a student creates vulnerability that must never be exploited for personal, financial, or romantic benefit. You already know this intuitively, and now you have the ethical framework to support that instinct. Now let us contrast ethical and unethical mentoring practices so you can recognize these patterns confidently on your exam and in your own professional life. This comparison is going to be really helpful for you. Ethical mentoring begins with transparency, evaluation criteria, including rubrics, grading scales, and performance expectations, should be communicated clearly at the beginning of the course or practicum so that students know exactly what is expected and how their performance will be measured. There should be no surprises at the end of a semester. Constructive feedback should be specific, timely, and actionable. Telling a student that their needs assessment was inadequate is not helpful because it does not tell them what to fix. Telling them that the assessment lacked a clear description of data collection methods and recommending specific resources to strengthen that section is genuinely constructive and supports their growth. That is the kind of mentor you want to be. Equal access means all students should have the same opportunities for field placements, research involvement, conference attendance, and professional networking. Consistently recommending one favored student for opportunities while overlooking others of equal or greater merit constitutes favoritism, which violates the principle of equal opportunity. Professional boundaries must be maintained at all times, meaning you should avoid dual relationships where you serve simultaneously as instructor and personal friend, business partner, or romantic interest. On the unethical side, favoritism based on personal affinity is the most common violation in professional preparation settings. Using students as unpaid labor for personal research projects without giving them proper attribution or authorship credit is also a serious ethical breach. If a student collects data, conducts literature reviews, or writes portions of a manuscript, they deserve appropriate credit for their intellectual contributions. For your exam, the correct answer always involves consistent, transparent, and fair treatment based on demonstrated competence rather than personal relationships. Keep that principle front and center and you will do well. The final dimension of Article 6 focuses on maintaining high standards in the academic programs and field experiences that prepare future health educators, and this is where things really come together for you. First, curricula must align with the competencies and sub-competencies defined by the National Commission for Health Education Credentialing, or NCHEC. Courses must systematically prepare students across all 8 areas of responsibility, from needs assessment through ethics and advocacy. Gaps in coverage leave students unprepared for the certification exam and, more importantly, unprepared for serving the public competently and ethically. Program directors and faculty have a responsibility to regularly review and update curricula to reflect changes in the profession and the competency framework. Second, professional preparation should be realistic and honest about the challenges students will face in the field. Students need to understand practical realities, including organizational politics, limited budgets, competing priorities, grant writing pressures, and the emotional toll of working with vulnerable populations who face serious health disparities. Idealizing the profession during training does students a disservice when they encounter these challenges in their first job. Being honest about these realities is actually one of the most caring things you can do as a mentor. Third, when a student demonstrates competency deficiencies, you must address them honestly and promptly. Your primary obligation under Article 6 is to protect the public that your graduates will eventually serve. If a student cannot demonstrate competence in core areas after receiving feedback and support, passing them puts future program participants and communities at risk. Provide clear, documented feedback, offer structured remediation plans with specific benchmarks, document everything carefully, but do not pass students who have not met the established standards, regardless of how sympathetic their personal circumstances may be. I know that can feel difficult, but it is the ethical choice. Fourth, your own continuing professional development matters deeply. Stay current through conference attendance, reading peer-reviewed literature, and engaging in continuous improvement of your teaching methods. A mentor who stopped learning a decade ago may be teaching outdated content or methods that no longer reflect best practices in the field. For your exam, remember that the mentor's primary obligation is always to the future clients and communities that students will eventually serve, not to the student's feelings or graduation timeline. Carry that principle with you and it will guide you well. Read the scenario stem aloud. Give students 30 seconds to consider options before advancing. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is B. Article 6 requires honest evaluation based on demonstrated competence while providing every student a fair and structured opportunity to improve. This scenario is designed to test whether you understand that compassion for a student's personal circumstances does not override the obligation to maintain professional standards. Option A compromises professional standards by allowing personal sympathy to override competency requirements. If this student graduates and serves communities without the skills needed to do so effectively, those communities bear the consequences of the professor's misplaced compassion. The mentor's primary obligation is to the public, not to the individual student's convenience. Option C does not give the student a fair chance to address the identified deficiencies. Failing someone without first offering clear feedback and a remediation opportunity violates the principle of equitable treatment. The student deserves to know exactly what is expected and have a structured chance to meet those expectations. Option D creates an unequal standard that violates the principle of fair and consistent evaluation for all students. Lowering standards for one student while maintaining them for others is fundamentally unfair and undermines the integrity of the entire program. The ethical approach in option B documents the specific performance issues, communicates them clearly and respectfully to the student, and provides a structured remediation plan with measurable benchmarks and a defined timeline. If the student meets those benchmarks, they earn the passing grade on merit. If not, the documented deficiencies justify the evaluation decision.